In this video, you'll learn how to solve logic grid puzzles. Our puzzle is about 3 kids, Ada, Bob, and Cece. Each kid has a pet. The pets are a dog, a cat, and a bunny. Which kid has which pet? To solve the puzzle, we look at the clues. Clue 1, Bob's pet is not the cat. And clue 2, the dog does not belong to Ada or Bob. You might be thinking, wait, these clues don't tell me who has the cat and the dog. How do I figure it out? That's what the grid is for. The kids are here, the pets are here. An orange post-it note means maybe a particular kid and a particular pet go together, and maybe not. When we start a new puzzle, all the squares are maybe. Our job is turning the maybe squares into answers. Let's look at clue 1. Bob's pet is not the cat. This is the square for Bob and the cat. The post-it means maybe Bob and the cat go together and maybe not, but the clue says Bob's pet is not the cat. So I'm going to take this post-it away and write in an X. The X means no, Bob and the cat do not go together. Now let's look at clue 2. The dog does not belong to Ada or Bob. This clue points to 2 squares, the dog and Ada, and the dog and Bob. First, let's look at the dog and Ada. There's a post-it, so maybe the dog and Ada go together and maybe not. But the clue says the dog does not belong to Ada. So we can take that maybe away and write in an X for no. The clue also talks about the dog and Bob, this square, and the clue says the dog does not belong to Bob. That's no, so the maybe goes away, and we put X. Well, that's all the clues, but we still have maybes. What we do now is we use the answers that we have to find more answers. Look at the squares for the dog. We already figured out the dog doesn't belong to Ada and doesn't belong to Bob, so the dog must belong to Cece. This maybe needs to turn into a yes. For yes, I like to write an O. In a grid, a yes tells you a lot. We know Cece has a dog. Does Cece have a cat? No, because each kid has only one pet, so we can take this maybe away and write in an X for no. Cece does not have a cat. And with Cece and Bunny, the same thing. Cece has the dog, so she does not have the bunny. Where else can we put in an answer? How about here? Bob and the bunny. Bob doesn't have the dog, he doesn't have the cat, he must have the bunny, and we're almost there. If Bob has the bunny, does Ada have the bunny? No. This becomes an X. And now, the cat is not with Bob and not with Cece. The cat must belong to Ada. And this O means yes. We are done. And we can see that because in every logic grid puzzle, when the grid has one O in every up and down column and one O in every crossways row, it means we've solved the puzzle. Now you know how logic grid puzzles work. But what about when the puzzles don't come with post-its? Normally, these puzzles just have blank squares. The blank squares mean maybe, just like the post-its. You get to use the clues to turn the maybe squares into answers. Let's practice. Clue 1, Bob's pet is not the cat. Clue 2, the dog doesn't belong to Ada or Bob. Ada doesn't have the dog, Bob doesn't have the dog, so Cece must have the dog, and that means she doesn't have the cat or the bunny. Bob doesn't have the dog or the cat, Bob must have the bunny, so Ada doesn't, and Ada must have the cat. We're done.